First of all, let me welcome everybody. This is Dean, KK4DAS, Vice President of Vienna Wireless Society. This is a special meeting of, a very special meeting of the Vienna Wireless Society on July 10th, 2021. We're very pleased to have with us Saif, A71AM from Qatar, who's going to give us a little bit of a talk in just a moment. And then when he's done, folks, we'll take questions. I think we have about an hour scheduled, so hopefully we'll have enough time for to hear what Saif has to say, and then for a nice healthy dialogue. But to kick us off, I'd like to turn it over to my good friend and colleague here in the club, W2WCM Bill, who did all the heavy lifting to put this together. So I'll let you take it from here, Bill.
Okay, well, thanks, Dean. And I also like to welcome everybody. There are probably some people who are watching this live stream, and we welcome them all. I'm really excited to hear what Saif has to say, and so we'll get to it in just a second. I'll be very brief. I did want to tell a story, though. I first heard of Saif a while ago when I had a conversation on 40 meters with Michael, W8CI, one evening. And the next day I got a message from Michael that included an audio recording of our conversation that had been made by Saif at his station in Qatar. So I got to hear what I sounded like, and I was amazed. I have a very modest station. I was amazed to hear what I sounded like all the way or halfway around the world. And so later on, I learned a little bit more about Saif, and one thing led to another, and here he is. So we are very, very glad to have him here. Saif is a generous, a very welcoming amateur radio operator. He's one of the premier goodwill ambassadors of amateur radio around the world. I think he does a great job of bringing cultures together. So I'm looking forward to hearing whatever you have to say, Saif. And so please go ahead and teach us some things. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Bill, and thanks for everyone for being here and listening to me. Well, it's a small presentation, but it's really about ham radio. And what gathers us all here is really the ham radio. We share the marvelous hobby we have among us. And I'm so glad I'm one of you guys on this hobby. So I will run through the slides I prepared, and I hope I'll cover most of things there. If anyone would have a question, as Dean says there, and Bill will have it on the end there, but I'll try to cover everything I could, of course. I know this hobby is, if I took from now until tomorrow morning my time, I would not really give it even a 5% of what this hobby is. And how we enjoy this hobby. So I will run the slides and we will go through it together. I'll take first of all, I'll talk about my station and Alpha 71 Alpha land and the hobby here in Qatar, and then I will briefly speak to you guys about the region country, which we call the GCC. So the neighboring countries, and how the hobby here and how we share things, and sometimes we gather together as well in some of the countries and enjoy being together as well. And then we will talk about, definitely I'm going to talk about remoting. Maybe some of you guys disagree with remoting, but I really enjoyed remoting since I travel a lot. I really enjoyed using my station from everywhere. And just to give a note, I have a 2 station which I can remote, Charlie November 2 AM, plus this one here, A71AM. And you will see through the slides how do I really benefit from remoting. And then we'll speak about some IOTA DXpedition here in Qatar. And then we will end up with contesting. I love contesting, and I am a member of Alpha 73 Alpha contest team here in Qatar. And of course, the latest thing I did not really include any slides for that, but the 6 meter, as we are now on the really the season of 6 meter, and as you can see down there, or in my slide here, you can see the 6 meter antenna there is 9 elements. And today or yesterday, I spoke to November 1 Delta Golf, Dan, and I spoke to many stations, not really many, but few stations stateside on 6 meter FT8, unfortunately, not really a sideband. But I'm sure the guys were happy, and I was happy too, to make a 6 meter across from here all the way to you guys there on stateside, which is amazing. This is where, on the map, Alpha 71 Alpha Mike. As you can see, we're zooming into Qatar. I am on the west side of Qatar, and this is my property there. In general, gentlemen, in our region here is Hotel Zulu, which is the biggest country, a neighboring country to Qatar, and on the Hotel Zulu, they have 7 Zulu as well, according to the map there. We'll be talking about what we have here on antenna system. So, yeah, hello everyone. This is Alpha 71 Alpha Mike. As you can see there, this is the 10 element Echo Alpha 59 Plus, covers from 10 meter all the way to 20 meter. Top of that is the 6 meter, 12.5 meter. I'm using my drone to film that. A 9 element 6 meter, which does very well. Spoke to not many, but a few stations from stateside and 6 meter as well. The one we see there in the far distance we're going to is JK antenna. As you can see, this is a 3 element monoband 40 meter and 6 element monoband 20 meter. Each one is different feet. Top of that is the rotatable dipole for 80 meter. And in the station here, as you can see, I know everyone, when we start something like this, a basic stuff, not really much. And I was using a 765 Bru 3 icon with an R8 vertical. And that was my first time I used then called DX. And I have a story behind that, but I wouldn't mention the country, but you might guess which country is that. Anyway, I was DXing in a frequency, and it was only 100 watt. That time I did not have a linear amplifier, and I have only vertical antenna. And all of a sudden, a guy came on to the frequency and says, "Is this frequency in use?" And I was replying, I says, "Yes, it is in use." But because I was 100 watt with a vertical, he could not hear me. So he replied twice, and then he started CQDX. I'm sure he was using like 1,000 watt or something like that. So he took the frequency from me, and I was really, sort of angry. Why he do that? And then straight away I made my connections. Guys, I need a linear amplifier and I need a beta Yagi to solve this, and I make sure this one not happen again. So I bought the M square loop periodic, 12 element, covers from 10 all the way to 30 at that time, and I bought the Ecom 2000 from Bulgaria. And since then I moved on, so I get this station. As you can see the board there, with many QSL cards I was at the beginning, and then moved in from that to this. more complicated, more stuff as we go on the hobby. Then we buy more stuff, and I end up with the Flix radio, as you can see here, and then I bought many items. As you can see here is the Acom 2000A, and the spare one was there as well. Some CQ Worldwide certificates there we used as a team. And I end up with this. I end up with a rack. Previously, I think last month, I thought putting all my items in one rack is amazed, and it took me a little bit of work there, and trying to manage all those. I know all of us have many wires behind our desks, and every time we go and think that we will reorganize them, we will minimize the RF, we will. And we end up after a couple of months or 3 months having the same thing and the old story again. So I thought buying a rack and doing that could solve the problem. I don't know. Now I have a rack, but we will see. And I will tell you in the future if it is a good option. As you can see, the rack here is, I kept the doors, you can close all around, but I kept it open. So the ventilation, and when I use the amplifier down here, it's cooling down easily. Speaking about the station, so those is some of my friends here, Alpha 71 Alpha Echo, and the rest of the crew. They came after I had my log periodic from M Square for 10 years, but there was like a very strong wind, unusual, came on and destroyed that antenna. I didn't find really the picture of that one, otherwise I'll show it to you, but I searched for it, couldn't find it. But after that, then I bought this antenna from Echo Alpha, which is 10 element, as you can see here. And I called the guys, and they came here. We had, of course, as Bill says on his brief before, and I can tell you, Bill, it's not only in Vienna Wireless Society DNA, the food, but it is in our DNA as well over here. So food is a must. So we had a dinner together here, and the guys comes on, as you can see, helping build up the Echo Alpha antenna. And that was last year, just before the CQ Worldwide. So I was on CQ Worldwide as an Alpha 71 Alpha Mike. So we fixed it. The reason is it's a night time is because the climate is much better at that time rather than the daytime, where the sun really, not very hot, but climate is much better at night time. And that's when we finished the second day. We gathered the group, and we use a rope with a pulley to pull it up to the tower, using different ideas, central to pull, and guys from left and right just with a rope to direct the antenna and hold it straight to go up. Food. I hope this is good enough food, Bill. But okay, let me tell you about our culture here. Maybe it's something new for some of you guys there. In Arabia, when we receive a guest, this is the way we do a meal for a guest and invite our friends to come. So we have a big plate with a full sheep grill with lots of rice, and around it like that, something like this. So you have the big plate on the middle, and things around like salad and stuff. This is a full sheep grill. I hope you guys already had lunch. Otherwise, I apologize in advance for showing you stuff like that. But yeah, this is the way in Arabia we treat our guests. And I hope one day And this is my way here to receive any ham radio comes and visit me here. We'll have a dinner and do the same thing. If you notice here, the small plate, there was a fork and a spoon, because that gentleman was from Italy. And I wouldn't, it's up to him to eat with the fork and a knife and a spoon, or eat like us with your hand. So it's an optional as well. So don't worry, if you come here, you will have all options available. Of course, more the guys meeting. Unfortunately, this is, maybe some of you knows, Mustafa is a captain. Mustafa, silent key now, a close friend of mine. He visited me here many times, DL1 BDF, and he's a great guy. Was really, and met him many times in Friedrichshafen as well, there in Germany. And this is Michael. I know Michael is there. So this is Michael and K1ZZ. There is a picture of Dave, Michael, your brother there. And Dave is a silent key. And I had the pleasure of having Dave here on my station with me. And I visited him as well when I went to Dayton. I think it was 2015 when I was there in Dayton. This is another picture with Mustafa, DL1 BDF, and the group from Alpha 7. This is our booth, was there on Friedrichshafen. We have a similar booth on Dayton, hopefully. Well, it used to be there every year, but of course, because of the pandemic, it's not there. And I hope next year, I'm sure Michael will reserve one booth for us for Qatar Amateur Radio Society. And that one of the, okay. Now we'll talk about remoting a little bit. So as you can see, because I have two stations, I have Alpha 71 Alpha mic on the left, I have the radio, which is the Flux radio, and I have the logger, log 40M here, which I use for this station. And I have, of course, the antennas and the selection of whatever antenna and all the green horn, thanks to Jeff for all the good equipments really to make remoting. And as well here on the right, I have the Charlie November 2 AM, and that's laid on my close friend, like brother, Charlie November 8 Yankee Zulu, Yusuf, on Stats on Morocco. I have my Flux radio there, the 6300, which I use remotely. I can switch on and off both stations with my iPhone easily. And I can transmit from my iPhone and use the station remotely easily from anywhere. So this is the setup when I want to go in two stations on the same time, as you will see on the video here. So when I go on remote, sometimes I use, this is my station at my house on the capital, on Qatar, here in Doha. I have my main house there. So I have my Maestro and my iPad for the logger. So I use the Maestro and I have the headset. And of course, the foot switch down here. And then I can just easily use my station here, remoting the station from my house there. So I don't need really to drive all the way here, which is 50 kilometers away, west side of the capital. And this is when I was there in Tango Alpha Land. I was using this when we go to the mountains. I use the same system in remote. So I got my Maestro and connect whatever station I want, either Charlie November 2, or I connect to Alpha 71 Alpha mic in remote, and then easily remoting. This one now I'll play, this is on Tango Alpha 5. Tango Alpha 5 is south of Tango Alpha land on a town or a city called Adana. And I was there, as you can see here, I was here on this big bark with a marvelous view, a big mosque, very famous they have, with a 6 manara, we call it. And I was located there where is my laser pointed, which is this one here, and remote. And I was calling DX, and all of a sudden my friend Max, ON5 United Radio, he was in Kosovo using Zulu 68 United Radio. And I'll play the radio, and I'll play for a minute now the video. You can hear the conversation between me and Max there. Zulu 68 United Radio, your 5x9 QSL.
Yeah, QSL Saif, Zulu 68 United Video. Alpha X-ray, Oscar November 5 United Video. I just talked to the band that I want to say a quick hello, and I told me can't shake hands because that's I am also in Alpha 73 Alpha QSL.
Hello, Max. Yeah, very nice to hear you, my friend. You're indeed 5'9" over here, and will be very nice to see you down there in Alpha 73. Most welcome as usual. How is things going? Ready for the contest? Over?
Yeah, Roger. At this moment, I am in Kosovo. Sunday, I go back to Belgium. I was here for 1 week activity, but we have some problems with the antenna, and also we have some QRM problems. But we try to fix it, and we come back in January normally.
Yeah, that was Max, and I hope the audio was okay for recording the QSO. Now, this is another location in Antalya. Antalya is a very famous city as well down southwest of Italy, of Turkey, the Tango Alpha land. I'll play the QSO was with Tango India 2. Tango India 2 from Puerto Rico. Tango Lima 2 Sierra Whiskey A71AM. India. Roger, I copy Tango India 2 Sierra Whiskey, Roger.
Roger. Tango Italy 2 Sierra Whiskey. My name is Arlie. Alpha Radio Nazi India Echo, Roger.
Roger. Be nice to meet you. My name is Saif, like Sierra Alpha India Foxtrot, Saif. And at the present time, I'm in Antalya in south of Turkey, Tango Alpha, using my station in remote, using the station remote at the moment. And your 5x9 QSL.
Okay, Roger, on your station on remote. Your remote station sounds very nice. Okay.
Yeah, that is. I use my drone as well when I do for fun. But it's really amazed how remote could be. That is where I was using both stations on the same time. And it is tricky when you use both stations in one time, because you need to concentrate from which station you're transmitting. And sometimes you hear station, like sometimes when I use Charlie November 2, West Coast, I can hear them from Charlie November 2, where I can't hear them from Alpha 71 Alpha Mike. And they can't hear me as well sometimes from A71AM. So I can just call them from Charlie November 2 and then speak to them. And then the other stations I speak from here, A71AM. But you have to really sometimes I want to speak from the other station and I end up talking from the other one. This is a short video about using 2 stations. 1 second, just let me go back to it.
Net there as well. All is well, brother Angel. You're 5 by 9
I was
plus
speaking
both
to
stations. Over.
P3R, that's Angel from Puerto Rico, and our big gun friendship net. This is where I was making sure I'm transmitting from A71AM or Alpha or Charlie November 2 AM. As you can see there, I get them, you know, I had to put the call signs in highlighted so I know which one I'm transmitting on. And I had the logger set up like this log is for A71AM and this log for Charlie November 2 AM to make sure I'm doing the right thing. Moving from remote, I hope you're not bored of remote, so we'll speak about IOTA DXpeditions. In the IOTA, we have one of the islands, and this is the setup we had there. As you can see, 2 stations there. And this is some of the pictures. This is the tents where we have the food, Bill and everyone. So we make sure everybody, when you're hungry, an open buffet is there. So you just go and eat. Of course, lunch and dinner in time. This is a picture from my boat towards the setup. As you can see, the vertical for 160 and the other one for 180. And the Yagi here with the flag. If you could see on the far distance, those is the skyline, the towers of the city of Doha on the far distance there where the sun set almost there. And that was in January 2018. This is a video.
Thank you for your patience and for everyone as well. I need number 2, please. Mexico uniform, you 5 and 9? Thank you, good luck. Any other number 2? Ocean, Mexico, number 2?
Yeah, and I believe in contesting we love pileups when we are in contest. But I never experienced the IOTA DXpedition. You just have a pileup every time you're on the radio, and it's amazing how IOTAs is really get you those kind of pileups always, because people are chasing IOTAs. We don't do much IOTAs here, but we're trying to do our best. Moving from DXpeditions, so we will get a good time. So we will go to contesting. Contesting is one of my best of this hobby. And as you can see here, this is 2011. This is Dave, K5GN. I'm sure most of you guys knows Dave, K5GN from Texas there, Houston. And some of the guys as well. Here we can see Faisal, 9 Kilo 2 Romeo, Silent Key now, 9 Kilo 2 Hotel November, and many guys as well. We have Alpha 41 and Mike X-Ray, Hotel Zulu 1, Delta Golf, who is there as well, 9 Alpha 71 Bravo X-Ray. Of course, DL1 BDF was with us as well there. So we usually, this is my close friend Faisal, 9 Kilo 2 Romy was contesting. And this is, of course, Siki worldwide. We have a blade for Alpha 73 Alpha 59121 is the report for that. And this is the station in Alpha 71 Alpha. So this is the Society of Qatar on the capital. This is where is this located. And we do, you see, food is always there, Bill. So we make sure food is always there. This is what's preparing for the contest. And we can see here OZ7 Alpha Mike, Alex from Denmark, a very close friend of us. He comes with us in Alpha 73 Alpha team. As you can see him here with me on the station and here as well. And we do the scouts as well. They come and use our station there for the contest before we do. And there on the society, we have portable towers. There's military towers from Germany. We have about 4 of them, which we use for our contest as Alpha 73 Alpha. And we have portables as well, towers rather than the military ones, from some of the members of the Alpha 7 Alpha. We had a station on the desert which we used to use with, of course, 4/4 and 5/4/5 and 7/4/7. Those is 15 and 10 and 20 and 80-meter rotatable dipole. We had 4-element full size, another tower for the 40-meter as well. And then it was maybe in this picture. This was the rotatable before we fixed the 4-element full size from M Square. Most of those antennas were M Square, and we get the shack there. All the 5 stations were there, and we camped on the desert for that. And we had many friends who reached us before. I remember one of the contests, we had 21 operators and only about 6 operators from Qatar. We had operators from Hotel Zulu, and we had operators from Alpha 61, and we had operators from Alpha 41, and we had operator from Alpha 92, and we had operator from 9 Kilo 2, and we had operator from Sugar Queen, Poland, and we had operators from stateside. We had operators, and I remember I'm from Romeo Alpha as well, from Russia, and I had on my email that year many operators wishing to join the team, but I did really apologize to them because I cannot accommodate a big number. I will end up, everyone in contest would love to have the maximum time on the stations to run the pileups and enjoy the contest. With a big number, I could not really manage that. So what I came with an idea. We made teams. So among us here, I'm sure there is contesters, and I know some people does not like contests and maybe switch off their radios and station during contest, and I do respect that. But in contest, as contester, people would love to be. So what I did, because I have a big number, or one of the ideas I used is making teams for each station. So we had a team for 20 meter, a team for 40, a team for 10, a team for 15, and team for 10 could, share the 160. Team for 15 could share the 80 meter as well. So we had those kind of options, and we were selecting team leader, and I tasked them. So each team, like 20 meter, I need 3,000 QSOs if you could. This is your target. And 40 meter, 2,000 QSOs your target and try to, as much as you could, multipliers in there. And it was just perfect. I mean, when you have a big number, you can, do many things. So you'll not end up some stations without any operator. Even daytime, there was somebody on 160, just in case some locals or around areas could be heard in 60 as a multiplier will be added there. So we used sort of kind of those stuff there. Many operators had participated, as I told you. This is Alpha 41 Mike X-ray, my friend Farid from Oman. And this is Hotel Zulu 1 Delta Golf. And this is Alpha 71 Bravo X-ray. And this is Alpha 71 CV, Abdullah from Qatar. And of course, many others operators. Toby from Delta Lima and Alpha 71 Alpha Delta. Of course, me. Well, look younger there. Yeah, with more hair. I miss those hairs, but they're gone. Yeah, I think we're getting old. Anyway, yes. And that can include the brief. I think I came to the end with 41 minutes almost. So I would really spare some times for any questions could be there. And I'll leave I will leave a slideshow there to work, and I'm happy to answer any question could be there, Bill. Thanks for listening.
Well, thank you, Saif. And Dean, you're back. Would you like to handle some questions for Saif? He may not be back. He had to step away. So why don't I go ahead and handle some questions? I actually have one myself to start off with. Someone, when we were talking about your presentation, someone said, ask him if he ever gets tired of working pileups from the US, Europe, and Japan.
If I get tired from working pileups?
Yeah, do you ever get tired of hearing all of us call you?
Yeah, honestly, yes. Sometimes, especially, I stopped really, I used to, if it is a DX, yes, I get tired. But if it is a contest, I need to collect all those points, and I make sure I pick up the multipliers among those pileups as much as I could. But of course, anyone I hear, I would really give my full attention to reply to them. But yes, pileups, big pileups, I get in DX, I get tired, and then I limit the time and try to ask people on the pileup, if you worked Alpha 7 before, please give away, I only have 10 minutes to go. And then if you could give away for people who never worked Alpha 7 for their new DXCC, I would appreciate it. So I give a chance for people, for DXCC, but I do get tired, yes.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, let's see here. What other questions do we have? And what I would do is ask people to raise their hand in the participants group, or if you don't want to or don't know how to do that, then just speak up.
There's a question in chat, Bill.
I can get it for you, Bill, if you want. Yeah, so it says, hello, Saif. A question about COVID's effect on mailed QSL cards. I continue to have mailed QSL cards returned from countries like Guadeloupe and most recently from Cuba. Do you have a sense for post offices in your part of the world?
Yeah, and QSL cards through the post or bureau here is okay. As far as I know. There was sometimes at the beginning of the COVID-19, there was really, the post office was not really working and you could not really get it. But nowadays it is working, yes.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I hope hope your post office works better than ours. All right, what other questions do we have? Are other questions in the chat, Leon?
That's the only one so far, but I'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, well then another question someone else posed is, how did you get started in amateur radio? You told us a little bit, but tell us the story.
Oh yeah. Well, in here, in our culture, we love hunting by falcons. And once a day, then they started using a radio on 2 meter to communicate between all cars when they are hunting, who will hunt first and stuff like that. So since I was young with my father, I see them using a radio, and I was really amazed how can they talk to each other through this radio. Then I got involved with 2 meter and CBs, and then from there I started. And then I've heard about Qatar Society. Sorry, I didn't mention about in Qatar. It started in 1992 when they issued it. But yeah, there was people who were working here in petrol with Shell and stuff like from Germany. If you put in QRZ like Alpha 7 X-ray Echo is a guy from Germany who was here on 1979. He was using that call sign where there was nobody here is really a ham radio. But then it started Alpha 71 Alpha Alpha. It's not in QRZ. It was a minister, and he was the son of the ruler of Qatar, and he was Sheikh Abdulaziz, His Highness. He was a ham radio as well. He's alive still. Maybe one day I'll visit him and maybe refresh his memory to get him back on the hobby. I hope one of my targets to hopefully pull his leg back on the hobby. I'm sure he's now retired, but he's a very nice man. To get him back, he was one of the first people, and as well our society manager up to now is a minister, a retired minister. That's one of he was a petrol minister for Qatar, and he was presented to Qatar and Kobe on many situations, and he is still. Michael has. We had dinner with him, and Michael was there as well among the team when we had dinner with the manager there, the minister, and he's not very active nowadays. He's busy, but hopefully he comes sometimes to the society, and there was a picture on the slides there of him. I will point it out when he comes through there. But yeah, that's the beginning of the ham radio here in Qatar. And in 2005, I heard about you can be a ham radio operator if you get the license, and you need to speak English. So I was happy to join because I do, as my background as a pilot, I learned English early when I was 19 years old. I know my English is not very perfect, but maybe it is sort of perfect, so you guys could understand me. So yeah, and maybe I have an English accent as well. You probably spotted that. So yeah, and then I joined the course, and I get my license. Alpha 71 Alpha Mike was used by an old ham as well. He left country, he was not from Qatar. And then I took it as an AM. And I have another call sign, Alpha 71 Sierra Sierra. I have Charlie November 2 Alpha Mike. I have Juliet Yankee 8 Sierra Alpha from Jordan as well. They gave it to me when I visited them. They says to me, we apologize, sir, we don't have Alpha Mike, it's been taken. Otherwise we would give it to you. But thanks to Juliet Yankee 4 CI, Rafiq is the manager of the society, and Juliet Yankee 5 Hotel X-ray as well, Dr. Munder there. And that's a story about ham radio over here, yeah.
Wow. Well, thanks for that. There was another question someone had. It's about antennas. That is, what are the problems, the biggest problems you have with antennas there in your country, especially given the climate?
Okay, yeah. Well, we don't have much. It depends of, yeah, I wouldn't be, I don't want to mention names of antennas, but let's say the mechanical ones, as all knows, sometimes some parts, if they're used as plastic or something, with such a heat we have, it's easily broke. And then they had many issues with it. That's why, if you notice in my antennas, I used straightforward Yagis fixed and put them up, and that's it. Just forget about them. So no retracted or motors on my Yagis stuff. But believe you me, some other people who did not have any problems with those antennas as well, because those nice companies had really came over those kind of problems. I know my friend Kilo 7 IR, Michael from Step IR, they produce a very good stuff. And my close friend Ken W3JK, which I use his antenna, the Eagle one I have, which I really happy with using it in 40 and 20. I'm always loud. Even the rotatable dipole in 80 meter is loud enough as well. So it's really not much, but when we get very unusual high-speed wind, sometimes you get, you know, I did had some about, yeah, years, 5 or 6 years, then I need to bring in the crane and pulling down the Yagis and maybe doing some surface or some things. We had some issues with big birds are landing on some edge of the elements, and then if those elements are not really very good in thickness, then we had some experience. Some guys in the region had some tips were, you know, broken, and then they had to order the stuff and replace those stuff. So those kind of issues only, yeah.
Yeah, Saif, this is Dean again. So sounds like you have the same problems we have here: wind and weather, heat, and all the things that can affect antennas. We get these windstorms through here, knock over our trees. We don't. Most of us don't have the ability to put up these big towers, so we use the trees in our backyard, and the wind is brutal to those as well as you can imagine. I have a question for you. I run our makers group here, and we build QRP rigs, and I am always wondering, you know, how the big DX stations, you know, react, or how you think about it when the QRP guys are trying to get by, or what can we do to make that contact with you? Is there anything we can do to make that contact? Because oftentimes I can hear you, but the pileup is so great that you can't hear me unless I sneak in around the corners.
Well, I hope you don't need to, Dan, then. But yes, you're right. It's not an easy for us, honestly, to go through the pileup, or to pick you guys through the pileup. The reason is let's say the reason is maybe I would say, because, you know, the first hub is the wall between us and you is Europe. And if I could stop Europe, yeah, I could go through, you know, easily pick you up and talk to you. But I heard many stations in your side using a wire antenna with a 1,000 watt easily. Sometimes propagation play a big factor in there, where, you know, I don't know, for somehow I don't hear the European. You come over them easily in some period of time. But most of the time, if the European is talking, and I remember one of my friends here was DXing a funny stuff I wouldn't mention the country, but a European country, he was saying clearly, North America, secure North America, secure North America. And a guy came on from Europe saying to him, he's called Saif, and he says to him, hey, are you listening? I'm calling North America. And he mentioned his country, and he said, is your country is moved from Europe now by somehow, and it is now there in North America? I would not believe that. So please stand by. and it was just, sometimes, and I told them, well, I can't say that on the air, we need to be polite to each other. I know the restriction of the language sometimes I always give an excuse for those people jumping in. Even I say, if I secure Japan or I secure North America or I secure particular place, then I know people get jealous, especially the ones they want to work me. And some countries, they come 5'9" plus 40, and all of a sudden I ask them, what is your antenna system and what is your power? Because he's so strong. And all of a sudden he said, well, I'm using a dipole and only 50 watt. Yeah, well, it's hard to believe. But yeah, I know. Maybe he's 50 watt to run 10K, maybe. But yeah, and sometimes it's like that. But you have to be patient. That's my way. And I always get feel a bad feeling for leaving a big pylon while there is a people waiting for a QSO. And I always try to apologize in the end, because the problem is sometimes people, because they hear you very loud, whatever reason, because you're using a monoband Yagi with a 1000 or 1.5 watts, they think that you hear them on the same way. While if they were here, they couldn't hear themselves. And I remember a guy sending me a very long email complaining about why don't you reply to me? And I'm chasing a DXCC. And you are, I kept there 40 minutes calling you and you can't acknowledge me. And then with that long email, I've sent him a short email saying, sir, I do apologize, and I'm all for you. Tomorrow or after tomorrow, as you want, we can make a schedule, and I will wait for you there to call. I will not call the X. So I'll wait for you to call there, and we'll make a QSO. How about that? And he sent me, he didn't send me an email until next day. We made the QSO, and then he sent me another long email apologizing about the first email. And he said, sorry, I was very angry at that time. And I said, I understand. But, I could not hear you with that big pylon. But when we were alone on the frequency, I could really easily pick you up. But, you have to understand, sometimes, I could not hear you. That's why.
Yeah, I usually do things like if there's a huge pileup, I'll wait till the end of the pileup and just kind of stick in there QRP to see if you can to see if you can hear. Or sometimes if a station is calling and they're clearly not getting any response from their region, I'll listen for 2 or 3 and then I'll try and pop in. So
well, that's good, Diane. You can do that. Sometimes I couldn't. And sometimes I cannot lie. And then if my phone rings, I say, oh, thanks, guys, I have a phone call. I go to the phone call and then come back, and I just think, are there anybody still there waiting? And all of a sudden, yes, we are here also. Oh, no. You guys can. But yeah.
So what's a rare DX for you?
What the rare DX could be?
Yeah.
Well, I wish I got Papa 5 for North Korea. I never worked them. and I'm still waiting for that. And I'm sure everybody here is waiting. Maybe some of us here did work, some old DXpedition or those people who've been there before, but I never worked there. We were working, me and 9 Kilo 2 Romeo, fortunately he passed away, but we will do it one day, trying to see a real place where we could go and activate a DXpedition from there. Hopefully we will plan for that. I'm really excited to join those DXpeditions people. I think it is fun, and but when I have the time, I'm still at the office, so I did not retire yet, and from the military, so I'm still in the office. But when I retire, one of my hoping things to do is really going to the expedition, I hope.
Well, we are at the top of the hour, and I don't know if you have time for a few more questions or not, or it's up to you. I don't want to hold you. Bill, do we have a question or two to kind of head us towards wrap up?
There were several questions that people had suggested that be asked, but I think the one that I'm curious about in the sort of a wrap up is what's the status for visitors to Qatar in terms of operating? If any of us are able to come visit you or others in your country, how can we operate? Can we operate your station with you watching, or what's the situation?
Yeah, well, you can. The situation here, if you are resident here in Qatar, if you're resident, then you are able to you're able to get a license, Alpha 75, and then you choose the letters after the Alpha 75. So people who's living here in Qatar working, as you just need to bring your license from your home license, and then you get the license here. Now, if you are a guest to Qatar, you can operate my station, but using my call sign, and then saying, you know, W2 WCM is the operator here from Alpha 71 Alpha 9. That's the situation here. We're looking. I'm really investigating with our society and the ICT here, the people in charge for license, to get across with your FCC there agreement for a stroke. So when you are here, you can use the stroke, and when we are there, I can use the cross as well as others. But it's not been yet activated between two countries. I'm looking forward for dating next year. Maybe would target that one of the see how would we do with that. I know it goes with the FCC there on the United States. Maybe ARRL could be a key, or through them to the FCC. I don't know, but we will investigate on that matter, Bill. Yes.
Wow. Well, thanks for that. We'll look forward to that. Maybe there'll be the big announcement at Dayton next year. We'll see. Anyhow, I just want to say thank you, Saif, for this presentation. I think it's been fantastic. A lot of us have been able to now work you via Zoom, and hope to work you on the air sometime soon. Dean, any last comments from you before we let Saif go have a nice evening?
No, thank you, Bill. And yes, indeed, Saif, thank you so much for the terrific presentation. I learned an awful lot. And I'm going to keep listening for that call sign and see if I can work you around the edges with my homebrew QRP rig. We'll make it work one of these days. And I don't need to do a sked to make it work. I'll work you around the pileup. I'll find a way so you can hear me.
Well, I hope that, well, thanks very much for all of you for being there and listening to me. I hope I benefit some information about our region to you guys there. Then thanks very much. I hope you will not call me with 5 watts, because I will not hear you. I assume you will be using a 1000 watt, I hope. But thanks very much for all listening, and thanks for those ones who joined the live stream. And thank you, especially Bill, for making it happen. And please, on the future, if you're flying somewhere through Qatar Airways, landing in Qatar, plan to stay a day, 2 or 3 days in Qatar. You'll be very welcome. We'll take you around, show you around. And if you've been in my QRZ page, you will see how many people came here. And I would love to put your, add your picture here with the station as well. And all the best for everyone. Thanks for listening, and hope to meet you on the bands. And if you hear me or see me spotted, just give me a shout. Thanks very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, and thanks for being a great ambassador for amateur radio.
Yeah, thanks for your Middle Eastern hospitality. Ma salama.
Thank you. Ma salama, Bill. Thanks. Ma salama, everyone. Bye-bye.